All right. We are live, Jay.
All right.
What's
Uh,
up, man?
what's going on? Nothing much.
How
Ready
you
to.
been?
I've been good. It's been a very busy weekend, but I have no complaints at all. What about you?
Oh, same here. Same here. I have had the pleasure of having lunch or dinner. I think it was dinner with some friends on yesterday. Had a couple meetings. Try to secure some things on my end professionally, and it's looking pretty good. But
That's awesome.
I will say that there's a couple things I've seen on my timeline that's a little disturbing. So I'll give just a short disclaimer here. We're going to be talking about some things that are sensitive in nature
Mm-hmm.
in terms of harassment. We'll say the SCX word. And
Mm-hmm.
so just to give you guys a heads up, but we encourage you all to again to like, to share, to follow, and engage with us on our social media platforms so we can talk about this and figure out how we're going to move forward.
Right.
So
Hey. Well, and also we need to make disclaimer. We don't know any proven facts. It's what's been public. It's our commentary, our opinions, and it's allegedly.
absolutely, all capitalized. Alleged.
Allegedly.
We don't want. I don't want no smoke. I know you want all the smoke.
Yeah, but don't go public with it if you don't want nobody to talk about it.
Exactly, exactly. So we've heard from Christian Keys
Mm,
last weekend. Now I don't know if it was recorded earlier in the year or I'm sorry, earlier this month, but it sounded like it was recent. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you know what? By the time a lot of this stuff leaked, it honestly, excuse me, could be old. But by the time we get it, and then two, I don't. It has not been clear on the person that he's accusing. He's throwing out keywords, and we are assuming, but he has not released. Well, as far as I know,
Right,
he has not released the name of the person that he's bringing these accusations of towards. So
right.
we don't know. I think I'm ready to. It's not a debate, but I'm ready to bring in different perspectives on it
Okay.
because especially when it's a man that is claiming harassment and
Absolutely.
they are not really and we don't know if he's LGBT because in a lot of the harassment situations is always a gay man
Mm,
that's being harassed by someone or causing some type of level of complaint about a prominent person, and it's typically a gay man.
right. I agree.
They're the boy toy, they
Right.
the sugar baby, things like that. And especially in the church world. And it started, I mean, it's been out for a while, but one of the biggest controversies was with Bishop Eddie Long.
Mm,
And one of the reasons why, because he was one of the prominent pastors of a large congregation in Atlanta. And he preached and teach heavily against homosexuality.
absolutely.
And then for you to be the one homosexuality in everybody, it was a big rocker shocker,
Right.
you know. And it's been a lot, and not just with the Christian Keys guy, um, Luke Skywalker, Uncle Luke from Florida, went and did a video not too long after Christian Keys came out, and he was like, somebody's trying to frame him. And everybody know that was Pop. Yep, Pop, Pop. You had to
Uncle
be able
Luke.
to get it, Uncle Luke. And he was like, I didn't even know what grooming meant. And he was like, let whoever it is, let them come forward because I know what I did. Like he's standing fast, and that wasn't me. There's
Yeah.
no way you can prove it. Everybody knew what type of business I was in, and we made sure everybody that was with us was of age, and nobody made you do nothing. I made you go home.
Right. Right.
And that's how he did his video. And I could respect that because it's like when you put yourself out there, it's not, easy for somebody to point the finger towards you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so when we get into Mr. Keys, you're gonna see why I feel the way I feel.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I can say this. You mentioned that he is not of the LGBT community,
Oh,
and
he hasn't said anything.
right. Well, in the video that I saw, he did say that he does not get like that. He does not
Oh,
get
okay.
down that way. He did say that he was a heterosexual man, and that he found it odd and of course offended by the manner in which this person kept approaching him and the persistence in which he was approaching him.
You're right.
So I who he and this is another thing he added. He said he has a one beard rule, meaning
Mm-hmm.
there's only one beard in his bedroom. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I can respect that, understand that. I can't imagine being a man, and I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked about Terry Crews as well, or at least his name has come up a couple times, at least this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And being a man and finding finding your place, finding yourself in a situation where yet another man is approaching you sexually,
Mm-hmm.
advancing towards you and harassing you in that manner, and you
Mm-hmm.
not first want to either swing on this man and protect
There's a
yourself.
response. There's a
Absolutely.
response.
So I just can't imagine how he would have felt in those situations.
So with you, by you saying that, that's my first point.
Yeah.
A man that is the men that we have identified of what a man is, they're going to address it right then and take whatever consequence that came with it. If you did not address it in any form of fashion, to me, you were baiting it in
Okay.
as maybe some type of insurance, as in some type of protection, because one of his statements was that this person did not fund or do something with his project,
Hmm.
which lets me know you allowed it to go so far that you wouldn't be criminalized as a gay person, but you was willing to do what you needed to do to get where you needed to get. It's no
Mm.
different from when women back in the day was in the workforce and they wanted to climb the corporate ladder, so it's like you didn't spaz out right then. If it was little Bootsy probably would have went live and said something real quick, or like you said, they would have handled it, but you didn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that being said, if you taking a moment to get a recording, if you doing whatever you need to do to put you in the light of I didn't want it, but I'm going to position myself to confuse the situation because it may be a possibility that something you want to come out of it, you pimp the situation. And that's just my opinion about it. Because and me personally, if I'm gonna put myself in that predicament, I'm gonna put myself in that predicament. Like I'm gonna let you grab, touch, grab, whatever, and then I'm gonna make sure that it's not an accusation of an
Ah,
assumption of harassment.
I see.
It's going to be harassment because I made my demands very clear.
Okay.
This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. And if I let you grab my shoulder or my butt cheek, at the end of the day, you knew what you was getting into when you grabbed it
Hmm.
because he wanted something. So how can he sit there and make it seem as if he's giving me Smollett vibes right now?
Ah.
And it may come out different and I could be proven wrong. But you put yourself in a
Yeah.
situation and you're trying to get an insurance policy and then you want to go live because you didn't get what you wanted. Then you ain't play your cards right, brother. You should have threw that leg up and let him get it. And he would have had his own show. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
He would have had his own show.
That's true.
He would have been a well taken care of, light skin in the community of actors. But you didn't. So you didn't play your cards right.
Right. I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna say I don't know that I agree with all of that. What I will say is um it felt like he took all of those recordings, not to
Mm-hmm.
necessarily hold it for insurance, but and then he mentioned in one of the videos, it was over an hour long, on one of
Mm-hmm.
the videos that I saw, that he said he allowed the statute of limitations to expire because he's not after money.
And then that's you lying.
So what his agenda and purpose is or intentions now, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot answer that. What I will say is that I'm again appreciative, one, that he felt he was wise enough to again protect himself by getting those recordings, and from what he says, he is going to release them to the police, which is the right thing to do, right? And allow them to handle that, criminally,
Mm-hmm.
if he's saying that there's an assault. Um, and then the other part of that, speaking out against it now. My thing is, I only wish that he would have done it years ago, so that the other
Exactly.
people, who have been affected, or as that person, or that who've been assaulting these people, these men,
Mhm.
there won't be additional ones, and hopefully
Right.
there's not others after that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. But the world that they live in is going to happen. The world that we live in is going to happen. So you have to position yourself on identifying what harassment truly is.
right,
If a person, and especially with the younger generation, because we just gonna hit it on it all. If you turn them down after dinner came at you 4 or 5 times at the club or 18 times at the gas station, they're either gonna curse you out, want to fight you, get mad with you. So people can't accept rejection to begin with.
true.
And then we have to classify what is true harassment,
Mm-hmm.
not what he just bothered me. No, that's not necessarily harassment. Even in the workforce, it has to be with intent, and you have to prove intent. And if a person says, well, she normally give me a hug, I didn't think this would be any different, you can't claim harassment because you was mean that day or you was mad that day.
Right.
And same thing, and especially in the workforce, because some people, it's bad, but some people still live by that. I need to do whatever I need to do in the workforce to get where I need to get.
Right.
And so I personally was a part of a harassment. I went through a lot of harassment, but
Okay.
I was sexually harassed and attacked at at a job before.
Oh,
And this
wow.
was when I was managing rent a center.
Okay.
And it was at, especially at that time, it was a very male dominated situation. And I was about 20, 19 or 20 years old. And the harassment first started was my first day on the job. My first day on the job, I came in and they said, hey, well, before we get to do anything, I need you to go clean the bathroom. I'm like, okay, it's my first day. I'm going with it. It was so horrific in that bathroom, but I cleaned it. I did whatever I needed to do. I came back out. Well, what's next? Well, go over here and clean this. Go over here and do. So it was always what you would consider a female's job that they gave me.
Okay.
So that turned into a sexual harassment corporate way, excuse me, in a corporate standpoint and in the class action suit because the females were only allowed to do a female's job.
Ah.
And if you didn't, your job was threatened. It was a lot involved. It was a lot. Then when you're the only female and there's 10 men in the rent center store, then yeah, they're gonna hit on you. Then there's this, and then if you don't give in, you feel like you're gonna lose your job. It's a lot. So we went through like almost 2 years of where this class action suit, and we all who made claims, actually they reached out to me. I didn't even know that it was a class action suit, and I ended my tenure with Rent Center after I was attacked on
Mm.
a job, and
Okay.
I had to, like, it was a setup, and my manager, the guy told my manager that he wanted me,
Mm-hmm.
and my manager sent me out on the truck to do a two-man delivery. So that means it's something that somebody else had to help you with.
Okay.
And he was like, "Oh, he's gonna help you. Don't worry about it." And I get to this guy's house. I throw the back of the truck up, all of that good stuff. And when I did, it was a bunk bed and I think a washer and dryer or something like that. And he came out. He helped me get the washer and dryer. And then what happened? I took it in his house and he locked the door and it went downhill from there.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I fought my way out, got out and everything like that. And I literally, with the back of the truck open, I hauled tail back to the office, dropped the truck off, went home, locked in for a couple of days, and the police came. It was a whole bunch of situations. So the guy ended up getting charged with sexual battery and something else. So I was over that job at that point. And
Jesus,
then
man.
my point is, you have to identify what is true harassment. It's, you can't assume that they know no. You have to say no. And I mean what I say. And whatever
Right,
consequence comes with that for you saying no, be willing to do. Let's time stamp this.
right.
It's not going to be where, well, he's my friend. No, no means no on all levels.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a girl or a boy that's being offended, in the middle of the fence, no is no. And a lot of people claim harassment now because they don't get their way, and they
Mm,
don't get what they want, and they don't get what they feel they should have gotten because both of y'all was drunk and y'all was having a conversation and that person didn't remember,
okay.
or they said what they need to say to get in your drawers.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, first,
So
let me just
yeah.
say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off,
no, go ahead,
but
go
I
ahead.
do want to say that I'm really sorry that those things happened to you. And I'm sure that there is a part or a time frame after that assault that there needed to be some healing. I hope that you
Hmm.
have arrived or at least taken on that journey.
Yeah.
And I also want to say that even in this discussion, I'm sure our listeners and people out there, whether you're watching today or tomorrow, or whenever, uh, have experienced this on some level.
Right.
And just as you were talking, I'm reminded of not necessarily a case for me, but
Hmm.
people who are close to me, loved ones who have shared that information to me.
Right.
And I'm going to say, or I will ask, for you, was it ever a question or ever a point where you didn't want to come forward be- because maybe fear of people believing you, whether they're going to assume that you uh, uh, influence or not influence, that you entice the person
Right.
or invited it in somehow, or how did you feel about addressing that situation that happened to you?
Yeah. So first, when after the situation happened, I didn't come forward.
Okay.
Um, if I remember correctly, it was like the weekend coming in. And so I didn't come out my house, and just so one that day my mom called,
Mm,
and she said she heard something in my voice, and then I just started crying. And
okay.
while I was on the phone with her, the police came to my house. So she called the police from North Carolina, and they came to my house in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And that's how the report was made. And and it had not been more than 2 days. I think it
Okay.
was like within 2 days. And so when that situation happened, that's when the police, I gave my statement, told them who it was, where the house was, because again, I delivered it. So, I
Right.
knew what the house was. I described inside of this man's house. I described his body parts. It was everything, and then once they did the investigation, that's when they told me, because I quit
Okay.
Renison at that point.
Sure.
And I made a complaint to corporate, and they were like, and then literally it was just like they didn't care.
Yeah.
And then when the police got involved and the man was arrested, that's when their attorneys reached out to me and was talking about the other sexual harassment situations with other women on the job, where I was in line of how, well, this person was more sexual harassing this person, and where my line of priority was. And I got a extremely, at that time, large settlement
Uh-huh.
from Rent Center, to the point where I didn't have to work for like 2 years. I was young, so I was spending money, but I
Sure.
literally didn't work for 2 years. But they gave us, counseling and all that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
I got like 2 or 3 years worth of unemployment from them after the fact. Like, so they tried to comfort the situation, but I had to, that was a bit of a PTSD situation where They offer me, like, I still have an open offer with them forever.
Mm,
But I'm not going to put myself in a predicament where that, yes, I went through counseling, I went through all of this, trauma situation, but I don't know what would trigger me. I never put myself back in that predicament.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Mm-mm.
Wow. Well, I will say that so many of the listeners may already know I was enlisted in the world's greatest navy. I'll say that
Yeah,
for
I
almost
love the
eight
Navy.
years. Thank you. And that was prevalent at the time that I was in.
Hmm.
I was on a ship. I was on a carrier. I was on other smaller ships, did deployments, and I've heard stories or people have shared with me examples and situations that they had gone through with either a direct report or person senior to them, or in some cases even a person who was maybe not even in their work center, right?
Hmm.
And some of those situations, I feel personally that some of the people took advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
And so there will be some scenarios or some cases where people might not even find your complaint warranted because you may have benefited from
Right.
those advances or those
Right.
situations. And what are your thoughts in that realm?
That's why I kind of feel about with the key situation.
Okay.
You allowed it to reach a statute of limitations. And now it's, well, I don't want money. You're going to get it. So it's like, to me, you're trying to get some type of benefit, or you in the process of time benefit and you didn't get the ending result of what would have been the big boom, that balloon payment, like on your mortgage,
Hi.
and little payments, and then boom, you got this large payment. And it's got some level of benefit.
Hmm.
And and so in the workforce, people give, I mean, when you go to a strip club, when you got, like, they know, what you're getting into. And it's kind of like, even when they make claims of harassment, whether they are a lady of the night, or, or a worker of the agricultural, whatever you want to name them, they don't get the benefit of being harassed or abused on any level because of what they do. People assume.
Mm,
And then on a coloristic perspective, it's easier for a Caucasian person to claim a harassment and than a African American. And it's because of the fragility of that that race.
hmm.
It's easier for them to cry out when we're going to be like, well, let me try to handle it in a different way. Let me try to do this, and not knowing, no, it's the same situation happened to both of y'all.
Right.
But it's like the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the most oil. They know how to cry it out.
Hmm.
They know how to get the attention, and we don't take advantage of that because we feel like nobody believes us,
Right.
or we're considered the strong one. So how could that happen to us? Because when you look at a historic perspective and how the African American culture was physically vandalized all those years, you got accustomed to taking it.
True.
And yeah, so to me, I think that bled over into how we handle stuff.
Right. Right.
And we don't take the initiative to say, no, this is harassment. I don't approve of it, because we think we're going to be the fall guy.
Right. Right. Just as you were talking, a memory came to me
Hmm.
from a friend of mine who's no longer here. Right. And I'm gonna try to get through this. She was a dancer,
Right.
and she was at a club, and she and I
Hmm.
were really good friends. And I lived in another state at the time, and I would just call periodically, and just check on her. I called her one day, and phone went to like her mom or dad or whatever, and it was like, well, no, she's in the hospital. So, okay, well, just give me the number. She's, sometimes sickly. I'll just call up there and talk to her. She's like, no, 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 you don't understand. I says, what you mean, And he's like, no, they pulling the plug tomorrow. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Wait a
Long
minute.
story short, long story short, again, she was a dancer. Um, I won't say what city, but she had done a party at someone's house.
Mm-hmm.
And the people at this party had taken advantage of her. They sodomized her, they brutalized her. They messed her up really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to go, of course, to the hospital. But from what I understand, she had gone home. She was at home for a couple of days, and then somebody came to check on her and saw that she was in really bad shape, and they sent her to the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. And so by the time I got word, again the next day, they were pulling the plug.
Right.
And man, I'm saying,
That's okay.
that was really hard to to one that people would assume, like you said, that because this is this person's job,
Mm-hmm.
that this is the life perhaps that they live, that they are open to whatever invitation you give to them,
Right.
which is not true.
Exactly.
And nor should they be subject to your abuse because you don't know how to handle yourself appropriately in this type of setting.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, or as a result of that, this young lady is no longer here.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. And it's really sad that that those things happen. It's sad that your situation happened when you were just simply doing your job, right?
Right.
You should not be open or subjected to it. And same thing with Christian Keys, whether he's down low or whatever his objective is, he should not have been put in those situations, in my opinion,
Right.
from a person who is just out here carrying themselves all foul. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
just say foul.
Right.
That's just ridiculous. I don't understand the logic or the thought process of these pedophiles that
Mm-hmm.
just prey on people. And like I said, these people are adults. If you make an advancement towards someone else and they reject you, then that's just what it is.
Walk it off.
Okay, plenty of people have said no to me. I'm not chasing you. I'm not uh, uh
Right.
forcing myself. I'm just not doing that. That just does not make sense to me.
Right. But then let's look at it how it looks in the
Hmm.
community as a whole. When you have back then, it was years ago when men would try to change a dominant or a masculine identifying woman by raping them,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Essaying them. I guess that's the appropriate word. And then we went through a time frame of that. Then now it's more on our transgendered sisters and brothers
Absolutely.
because you are so challenged in your manhood that you feel your anger is justified when either one you got caught or just or accepting that that's what you like. But because either you got caught or can't be open about it, and how they're brutalizing and beating them and murdering them. Like I've seen so many videos of, and I don't know the person's name, but somebody caught it on video, which I was mad because I'm like, you got one person video in it, and it's like six people kicking them. Nope, nothing said. Let me call the police. Like there's no level of humanity in you that, regardless on if this is a man in a skirt, that you don't even have enough in you, enough sympathy to say this is wrong
Hmm.
because they're living the way that they choose to live and you don't approve of it. You have to do something physically to them to make it right.
Hmm.
And that's beyond, because that's what a lot of our community is dealing with now, is not the lesbians that are getting essayed now. It's more of the transgender sisters and brothers that for no reason, and it's these insecure men who I don't even know how to formulate a correct statement without using some derogatory terms,
Right.
you know. And it's sad because again, it's harassment.
Hmm.
And then there's no laws that are in a lot of states that support a malicious attack in that manner. because now you have to justify it as a hate crime. But only some
Exactly.
states do it. All states don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, as many African Americans that was killed at free will, it wasn't a hate crime. It was justified in the laws. So it's like, on any level, no matter where the harassment happens, we as a people have to identify what the harassment looks like, because right now the harassment is contained in a certain level that it has to violate certain codes. So like in
Okay.
corporate world, harassment, it has to be an intent. You have to prove intent. You have to prove that it happened more than once. Like if a person harass you and you report them and HR gets involved, they're going to investigate just to protect themselves. Because remember, HR is
Mm-hmm.
not your friend. They're
Right.
going to try to protect themselves. And then they're going to come back and say, well, they didn't know any better. Well, that's old. You do know
Right.
what you did was wrong. And if you don't know, then HR should have took that opportunity to make sure they know while giving out a perfect consequence for the situation, not a pass because you had a training. No, you need to learn, because
I agree.
now the person who was harassed don't want to come to work. They're not going to do their best, and they're going to put themselves in a predicament to where they're going to get terminated.
I agree.
So it's like, so we have to make this. And another one, while you were talking, another thought: relationships. It's not cute to be stalked by somebody. Like, you got to kill that. And if you start noticing that, where you getting these inbox stalk and stuff like that, that's nothing you let down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to, well, they just show interest, and then next thing you know, I was just with them, because a lot of lesbians do that. No.
That is a
Mm-mm.
flag, ladies and gentlemen. That is a
I mean,
flag, a red
that's
one.
like it's going like this, and you just ain't saying nothing. It's blanking, like the alarm is going off, and you think it's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it when they tell me what to do and get rough with me. No, no, because it's gonna turn into you getting thrown over a balcony.
Mm.
And we know how many stories out there where you probably seen them red flags a long time ago.
Yeah.
Some level of harassment, and next thing you know, we're looking at your funeral and your GoFundMe, and I hate those. Your
Yeah.
GoFundMe to bury you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
so
I don't know. As we were talking here, I kind of wanted to, and again, a lot of what we're doing is we're trying to educate our community, and
hmm
at the very least, let them know or make them aware of different things so that they can be educated enough to make decisions and choices based on the information that we have.
right,
So I want to define what sexual harassment is. Sexual harassment is defined as an unwelcome verbal or physical behavior of a sexual nature, especially by a person in authority towards a subordinate.
right.
So, just like you said, it happens in the workplace, it happens in schools and colleges, right?
hmm
On college campuses, it happens in the
Yeah,
military, all branches, right? There's not enough times that I've seen on any of the branches in the news cycle where there has been uh, uh, reports of sexual harassment,
right.
which to me is crazy. I don't
hmm
understand how anybody in your chain of command is not held accountable after there's an investigation and or some sort of action or consequence, like we said.
hmm
Uh, there's another incident that's also coming to mind. I'm also a federal employee,
hmm
and I have a friend who is a federal employee who is now in a situation where she is finding herself working from home and having to deal with proving that she was sexually harassed.
Right.
But because it happened on a federal institution or a federal base, then there's only so much that the civilian inspector can do in terms of intervening with that. And it has to, in a lot of ways, from what I'm understanding, legally be held by the federal
Yeah. And that's gonna
umbrella.
be hard. Right.
Exactly. It is unfortunate, but it still happens, which blows my mind to that 2023 that we're still having sexual harassment situations and the victim has to prove that they were harassed.
Now, I'm gonna add something to that. What a lot of people don't consider, they don't consider that being offended by the offense, not as the victim. If you witness it and was offended by it,
Mm,
you too can be reported under that whole umbrella of safety of being sexually harassed.
yep.
You can hear it, walk up, and you hear John say something to the other John, and I'm offended. That was offensive.
Yeah.
And if you make that report, you're protected as well. And a lot of people don't think that we're naturally not going to get involved. But then sometimes you need to get involved, to a certain degree of saying, hey, I heard what happened. I heard what was said. I don't mind writing a statement for you if you decide to come forward.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that will encourage that person to do what they need to do. Or if you know that that person, and they be like, oh, I'm just gonna, because some people are like, no, it is what it is. It's just the way they are. That's not acceptable. you know. But then, like you said, just pivoting to what you said about like the government being held to a certain criteria. Okay, let's look at all of these police officers that's been out there
Mm,
sexually harassing, people in the field, and then why? And a lot of them are women of the night.
mm.
A lot of them are disadvantaged individuals. They live in the projects. They got,
Poverty, yeah.
they tend to prey on a certain type of person. And it was, I can't think of this guy's name, but it's something I saw, and it could be old, but it was a police officer where the ring cameras caught him in the park having relationships with a particular person on an ongoing basis, but he's married.
Uh-huh.
This person, he was a white cop. This is a young black mother with like multiple kids that
Mm,
stayed in the projects,
mhm.
and you got this whole situation going on. And it took a lot, even with that evidence, to bring him to something you could say, this is justice.
Right.
Because I want to know, why did this young lady feel like it was okay? What
Right.
happened? Why do you feel it was okay? What was he protecting you from? So there's ways and it's stuff that you can do,
Mhm.
but you have to be willing to do it. And if it costs you losing, because once you report a harassment, especially on the workforce, report a harassment, and it didn't render a consequence of what you thought was fair, and then you find that the heat is turned towards you, there's a thing called retaliation.
Absolutely.
That, believe it or not, the government, the federal regulated agencies like the EEOC, take more. What's it like? They look at it more strongly than they do the harassment,
Mhm.
because now you're saying, well, now I'm getting, now they treat me bad. I'm no longer invited to meetings. This is this. They're like, oh, that's retaliation. So did you quit? Yeah, I had to quit because they was treating me this way. Now it's constructive discharge. So
Mm,
you see how it piles up.
yeah.
But again, you can't not wait to say I've been harassed. Two, don't try to justify the harassment. Three, make sure it ain't in your head.
Mm,
Because just because somebody, and I'm saying that because especially here in Maryland,
mhm.
when I first moved here, I'm from the South. So just because you open the door for someone, what are you doing? I can open the door for myself. Oh, okay. So no, that wasn't harassment. I was being nice, you dumb. Oh, I almost cussed. I was being nice. So you can't sit there. Well, I was being harassed. Why? Oh, if I could, real quick. I had one job. I was manager at this warehouse a
Okay.
couple of years ago, and a young lady came and reported sexual harassment by one of the guys on my team, an older guy.
Okay.
And at this point, now I got to get into management role. What's going on? I'm collecting my data. I'm separating them. I'm getting the information, doing all of this. And what it turned out was she was mad that her boyfriend broke up with her.
Uh,
But you and this guy talk every day. And then I had to write him up one because I found on video he was always in her section. Well, that's not your section. Why are you over there? So you're in her section on a regular basis, even though it just shows y'all being friends, y'all having a conversation. But this day, she got mad because she took a call on the floor, working floor. Her boyfriend broke up with her. Now she's mad at everybody, and now she done claimed sexual harassment.
Okay.
I let her go in 5 minutes. Oh, we're done. Because you could have cost this man his job. You could have got him arrested because you was mad. And you acting like cameras don't pick up sound. I
Right.
heard the conversation between you and your boyfriend. And as soon as he came back like normal, just to say, hey, whether he liked you or not, you flip the script and then you come to me saying you were sexual harassed.
Mm.
You can really damage somebody's life with this.
Absolutely, you can.
It's crazy. Or even when these people, these especially younger kids, they get caught and then what they do? Oh, I was SA'd. And it's like now you got the police involved. And some people who are truly innocent are losing their life
Mm-hmm.
or losing their freedom because you lied.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Absolutely. And then we see it all the time. Oftentimes, people are afraid to come forward because, in some instances, just that they're afraid that people aren't going to believe them.
Right.
They're afraid that their past behavior is going to come into question, which has nothing to do with it, in my opinion.
But they're gonna
Whether
bring it
they,
up
oh,
to
absolutely,
establish
whether they,
credibility.
right, exactly, whether they promiscuous or perhaps whatever
Hmm.
their lifestyle was, had nothing to do with this unwelcome or uninvited assault.
Right.
So they're afraid to come forward just for those reasons. Well, that's not the only reason, but that's one of them. And then maybe another reason is just because they don't want to ruin that other person's career, right?
Right.
Which, in my opinion, I don't understand. Why they even care. But
Right. Because
hey,
if it's true, it's true.
exactly. They made their own bed. They're gonna have to lay in it.
Hmm.
That's what I was always told.
I can see being afraid. Like, let's look at the Diddy situation.
Okay.
I can be afraid because he has the resources to make you disappear.
Mm,
So would I approach you about the situation where it's me and you privately trying to resolve it? Absolutely not. I will 100% go public, but I'm going to make sure that my evidence match what I'm saying and what I'm feeling.
absolutely.
Yeah, because you have no protection if he decides that you should no longer exist.
Right.
And
And
that's just the truth of the matter.
just how powerful he is. Just like you said,
Exactly.
his ability to make you lose your income, your source of income, never work again, which is of course your source of income, and just ruin your character as a person. How
Hmm.
powerful this man is. And I'm sure maybe the same for Christian Keys. He feels like, or at least in the video, he stated that he's not worried about the repercussions or whatnot because he's able to have his integrity in the sense that he didn't agree to or he didn't accept this person's advancement.
But you still stated that this person did not fund your projects. That's where you get me. Because
Mm,
I'm like, so what is the true meaning? Because your integrity would have stood if it happened years ago. Because what statute of limitations is what, 2 years? So
mhm.
if you would have said it 2 years ago, for example, 2 years ago, you would have still been had your integrity. You let this thing ride because you did not get what you wanted.
Mm, mm. So
And
you
I and it
feeling
he could absolutely be 100% true. But it's still the timing.
right.
If my integrity is not, is my integrity is as value as I'm saying it is, and it's really truly not about money. It's truly, we would have 100% said it the next hour it happened.
I get
Let's
it.
just deal with it. No, dude, you carried this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And from
carried this.
And from what it sounded like, I think he said the first recording he began recording after 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
It's
It's a
2023. Let's be
long
serious.
time to carry that in your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
I just, that is very heavy to be
Mm-hmm.
carrying that around and conducting yourself in meetings and still doing business ventures, whether it was directly with this person, indirectly, whatever that situation looked like. That is very heavy to carry around, knowing the information you know, and also again putting other people's lives in danger.
2005, though, I think I got stuck right there. It's 2023. So let that go.
That's a lot. I hope he is
It's a
not
long
Jussie
time. Mm-mm,
Smooelling
mm-mm.
us.
Right. Yeah,
I
and
just
that would
created
be
a word.
so that would be hard because it's like you really didn't have to do that because if it was truthful, you should have handled it right then.
Okay, people
And
still gonna watch
so,
your show,
right, if they like you, they like you. And
right?
we know situations where a lot of people get, you know, blackballed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If in true, and again, allegedly, we don't know if it was Tyler Perry that did it. My thing is, I'm pretty sure he could have got anybody who he wanted. Let's two, is he his belief from what he's presented himself as? Do you think that if you would not have handled it more internal, that you would have got a better result? Because he doesn't seem to be in that type of life to where he'll make you disappear just to save his butt.
Mhm.
And you have to see how that situation plays out. Like me personally, I prefer to come to you.
Mhm.
However, everybody and their mama seeing that they need to go publicly against me. And I'm like, you didn't even have to do all that because you can really come to talk to me, you know. But everybody don't think like that. Like I'm
Right.
not here to destroy you. It's been plenty of people that have personally put my name in a relationship with them. And I'm like, no, I don't even have your phone number. So how do we how do we get here?
Whew.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's so when you're dealing with situations like that, it's like, okay, but you could if you had a problem or you thought there was more than what it was, we could have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's plenty of people now that I am, yeah, I will hug on their neck, I will show up, I will fly out to support them that put me in a very bad situation before. And because one, I know how to forgive.
Okay.
And when I say I forgive you, I forgive you. And I'm able just to put you in a place to where this is how I'm gonna deal with you
Right.
going forward. But I can deal with you. We're good. But it's like, all right, I put it behind us. I'm thinking we going, but then you get in your feelings where you feel like you needed to go mention it to my wife. And I'm sitting there like, well, it happened way before her too. And I still got the proof that I shut it down. So I don't
Right.
understand why you had to mention it to her that something that happened 5, 6, 7 years before her. It was unnecessary. I ain't got nothing to hide, but it's unnecessary. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, you know, if if it's a person that has thug like tendencies, I'm going to go public because I
Okay.
need all the protection.
Understood.
Because if I disappear, I need everybody to know I said on this date that this happened. So if my body found, we know who did it.
Okay. I 100% agree. I would say, thankfully, that has never happened to me. No one, well, that I'm aware of. Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will also say that I really hope that Christian uh, finds peace with the situation
Mm-hmm.
and that he handles it in a way that doesn't continue to hurt or put other people in danger with this
Right.
predator being out here. And that for the predator, what I hope happens is that they are some form of justice brought to him
Now,
against.
what if he only did it just to him? Would he consider be a predator at that point?
Well, from what he shared in the videos that I saw, he said that there were other men. Now that it sounded like they agreed to whatever terms that this person set, in the sense
Mm-hmm.
that he referred to these other men. You know, they just show up when I want, and that's just what it is. And he offered him something similar to that. And then there was a situation where he showed up at his apartment and he explained or asked him to just take his clothes off. He'll give him 100 grand.
Hold on. Eh, you ain't seen, you done seen it all. You just ain't seen mine. Give my money.
Well, again, I just hope that, for these two people, these two individuals, that
Hmm.
um, justice finds the predator, and that Christian is able to find some sort of peace and doesn't
Right.
hold any trauma, in his spirit, and that he continues to create content and continue on his path in his career without being hindered by this situation. So, uh,
Yeah, I would say
uh huh.
the marketplace is not as controlled as it used to be.
Okay.
So for a lot of these actors and actresses and music people or whatever, they could use social media in such a powerful way to where it doesn't have to be owned by a particular person where you feel that you have to do something to get somewhere. Like Chance the Rapper.
Mm,
He put his own music out there
true.
and nobody owned him because right now, a lot of people are fighting for their masters. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this. And it's like now in our technology days that we live in, you can get on here and sing a song three times. That video will go, you can get on here, fall, and that video is gonna go viral. You
Yeah.
can be just like that Miss Netta. Charles, your lunch is ready. And she's viral for saying somebody lunch is ready, and all she do is cook broccoli and fried chicken. That's all she really do on the majority of the video. I
That
even
better be
I
some
even
good
commented.
chicken.
Right, I even commented on her post one time. I'm like, can you find another vegetable? Like, there's more vegetables than broccoli, ma'am. Like, I just want to see something else. Like, can you cook some asparagus or something? Like, everything is either a loaded baked potato, fried chicken, and some broccoli. And I'm like, come on now, let's expand our palate. But I
Yeah.
said as a joke, whether they took it as a joke or not. But it's like anything you can do can spark. It's like even now on TikTok, some of the most viral TikTok songs are songs we had in the 99s and 2000s.
Yeah.
And now this newer generation think it's brand new music. We're like, no, that's the franchise. Well, what's the one? Ooh, I think they like me. I think they like that's the franchise boys from when?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
90s. And
Yeah.
now
Somewhere
everybody
around in
using
there,
it.
early
Yeah, and
2000s.
now everybody using their music like it just came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like you don't even have to put yourself in the predicament because it's been too many people that reported how the that lime life is the parties because everybody talking about Diddy's parties and stuff like that. So you don't even have to put yourself out there because if you are a true artist, you ain't got to go out there.
Hmm.
You ain't got to go out to these parties and get high or go in one of them locked up rooms unless that's where you want to be. You don't have to rub those type of shoulders because if you are a true artist, it's going to get the recognition needed to do your true work. And I truly believe that. And whether you get signed by Diddy or not, because he's gonna if he gonna sign you, he's gonna come after all the views you got. He's gonna come after how many people jumped on your sound. So why not take advantage of those opportunities?
Yeah. Yeah. So this leads me to a question that do you feel like he has a motive other than getting his content or getting more of his shows on this network or a network or this person's influence? Or do you think it's a different route that he's trying to jump on the bandwagon? Because everybody
It's
after Diddy
motive.
right now. It's motive.
With Diddy, you knew what you was getting into when you signed up with Bad Boys.
Hmm.
People's been saying it for years. We just thought because they were no longer in the industry in that way that they were crazy.
Mm. Or it could
Like,
be that situation that they're no longer, as to why they're no longer.
exactly. So let's look at like now Jaguar Wright, she's teeter-tottering crazy. However, she was there. Jaguar Wright been out for a while.
Oh, for sure.
She was there. You got Mace when he wanted to be a pastor, and that situation happened. Then you got, well, I don't know where Bentley Farnsworth at. I ain't followed up on him. And
Yeah.
then you got who else was in the uh I can't even think of their name, but it's a lot of them that were in this arena with him and didn't go anywhere. And the only reason why Cassie was saved because she was pretty and she was young and
Mm-hmm.
she was able to be on his arm. But
Mm-hmm.
she was a part of what it Danity Kane.
No, I don't think she was one of those members. From what I heard or saw on the tabloids,
Mm.
supposedly or allegedly, she was chosen because she resembles a lot or a younger version of J Lo. And
And
because
he went through with that one. He really wanted J Lo. I
okay,
don't know what she put on him.
listen, I don't know either, but
I don't want it.
he was really fascinated with her, with J
Right.
Lo. And after that relationship ended, then of course he found or saw what is her name? You just said her name,
Cassie.
Cassidy. Yeah, yeah.
But have you ever even asked yourself why J Lo ain't saying nothing? And we know she good.
Uh,
She got a little craziness in her too.
for sure. What I really believe with that situation, I think she may be waiting, or the fact she may be waiting for a particular moment. One, two, she may not have seen everything that everybody else saw.
Right.
Now, from what I understand, when they were dating, she always suspected that he was doing some other things that he had no business.
Right.
But it wasn't until perhaps after or other people confirmed what she thought. But
Right.
she at that point she was already looking at some maybe some jail time, and she was like, "Nah, I think this is my exit right here." Which I don't
Right.
blame her. I ain't going
Right.
to tell nobody.
I get that.
Yeah,
Now, okay, two situations. I'm
yeah,
throwing both at you. So let's look at Bill Cosby
yeah,
and why they waited thousands of years, as old as Janice Dickinson is,
yeah,
and to want to say something. It's like this man can't even see no more. You could let that go. Right. So
yeah.
then they allowed that to be within the statute of limitations. So what's your perspective on that? They destroyed his life at the end, and I'm not saying he's justified.
Right,
What I'm saying is just what was that? What was your motive,
right.
Janice Dixon? Because her statement was she said she was cramping. She asked him for a pampering, which that doesn't even make sense. You at these type parties and you gonna ask him for like that ain't make sense. And that she then the pill that he gave you, you didn't agree to take it. Well, you popped it in your mouth. So at that point, it was an agreement.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, let's look at that statute of limitations. What did they benefit from other
Right.
than destroying it because they didn't get no money?
From that particular situation with Bill Cosby and Janice Dickerson, from what I recall about that story, I thought that it wasn't necessarily her claim, but someone else who was after her because the statute of limitation had not expired.
They was able to go to court on that last one.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So even in that scenario, all of which of all those things that these women are accusing this man of, then yes, absolutely, he should have been in someone's prison, someone's
Mm,
jail. There should be a consequence. But I'll say in terms of the person who they actually went to court about, um, I can't answer why that took him so long. Maybe a different question is not necessarily what did they benefit from that, but did someone come to them? Was somebody else looking for more ammunition to fire at this man? You know,
right.
were there other motives outside? Because from what I also understand, he was in a position to where he could purchase or acquire some networks. And so
Hmm.
when people start messing with your money and your things that they don't want you to play with, then other people from the woodwork start coming in
Right.
and they start hitting you with this. Well, maybe it's taxes. Maybe they couldn't get him on taxes. Or maybe it's, his infidelities with his wife. Oh, they couldn't get him on that. Or, oh, okay. I remember this one girl at one point said that he gave her some drugs and he made some advances toward her or whatever. Maybe there's some more. And then they found, and that was their avenue. We're going to exhaust
Hmm.
his financial backing.
Right.
We won't
Right.
be in a position to acquire this network. And now we're saved.
Right. Okay.
So it could have been any number of reasons as to what motivated these women to now come forward.
Right.
Not to say that what they have to bring these charges against these people or these men were not warranted, even way back when.
Hmm.
But perhaps they, felt as though people weren't going to believe them. This is a very powerful man. They wanted to continue to work and make a life for themselves, or whatever their reasons were.
Hmm.
I would just hope that people would be more mindful of, okay, if I don't say something, and not to say that I want to be in court and I want to address all of these things, but I also don't want to put anyone else in harm's way.
Right.
I also
I
don't
get
want
that.
to subject this person to feel comfortable and have the confidence to be able to do this to someone else.
Right.
So it's never just me. It's never just that one person. It's always other people that we also have to consider in that. And maybe to some degree it's not my responsibility to worry about everybody else, but that's how I look at it.
Right. So with that being said, my push, my encouragement for to anyone that has been in a very unwelcoming situation is to stand up for yourself because you don't know who will stand with you.
Mm,
One. And if there's a true violation, and again, no one can define that true with you until you tell your story. But your story has to be without motive.
mm-hmm.
And then that's when you get the benefit that comes along with it, but it has to be without motive. Let it be right, let it be true. And there's going to be people that will surround you and be there for you and support you through it. But don't have us out here looking stupid like whatever his name is,
So let
Molet, and we right here thinking he got attacked and he beating himself up. Don't come out here with that. But if you are being harassed on the job, there's recourse that you could take. I tend to frequent the EEOC often because I like to hold people accountable.
yeah, we
And
have to.
I'm in a lot of the protected classes. I'm over 40, I'm a female. I'm in the LGBT community because that's part now. I'm an African. Well, I'm not African, but I'm a black person. So, with that being said, I check a lot of those boxes. So I try to make sure that there's no type of violation that hits any of those boxes. And you can utilize them against them because HR is not your friend.
Right.
But don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid to say something. Don't wait so long when it happened. Because and I do know some people get scared. They don't want to come forward.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, they maybe feel like no one is going to believe you. You don't know that. You absolutely don't know that. There's anonymous ways that you can discuss these things. Like even at work, they got the ethics hotline. You can anonymously report something, and I promise you, with some good companies, they will follow up on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need to put yourself out there
Yeah.
because if not, you're gonna deal with this and it's gonna eat away at you like a cancer.
I agree. That's why I said I feel like it should be heavy on his spirit. Then why would he carry that for so long?
You talking about the guy?
Kristen
I
Keys, yeah.
I get it and I want to be that sympathetic, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a you didn't get what you wanted, why now? Because if I had recordings with somebody
Yeah.
and I'm positioning them like, hey, this has always been between me and you. But when we talked about this situation, you promised me XYZ. I'm going to use it in that aspect. You know what I got, you know what my intent. So you can't come out and say I tried to blackmail you. No, you knew, you agreed. We're gonna have a true conversation about it. And if you showed up to my house and you said, let me see your left shoulder for 100,000, you're gonna see my left shoulder because I promise you one of these cameras is gonna pick that up. And now I got proof that you came to my home. You asked for this, you did that, and I felt that I was gonna lose my job if I didn't comply. If you're gonna play the game, play the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna come there and say, oh, he just asked. No, I showed it to him. It is what it is.
Man, you want all the smoke though.
I want if you gonna go out, go out. Like,
I
come
hear you.
on.
I hear you.
Because now 2005 to 2023, and seemingly you're not on that many shows anymore.
Yeah.
So at the end, you lost. Oh, I would never go out losing. I either lost or I'll never lose. Excuse me. I either won or I learned the lesson that I would never repeat again.
Yeah.
So I want him to find the truth. If there is in true and indeed harassment on any level, I do want that person to experience the extent of hurt because it's been years,
Yeah.
damage, and everything that that person did. I
Yeah.
mean, that you did to him, and let him be vindicated by all means. But if he didn't, sir, we got some. I got some questions
Right.
because you ain't playing them cards right.
We can call him to the front of the
We
church.
need to call him out. Like you need to explain, make me believe you because
Yeah.
right now I'm a little upset with you because you at least could have had $100,000 more. He ain't say touch it. He said he want to see it. That's a big difference.
Sure. Well, listen, we're at almost a little over an hour.
Right.
Uh, any closing remarks?
No, I'm 100% about people getting help.
Okay.
And if you see this and you something that you haven't reported, and if there's any information that we can help you with, inbox us, send us a message. We don't tell your business. That ain't got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
But we can try the best to help navigate you into some good resources to help you.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're here for. You know, we can laugh, we can joke about it all day, but this is a safe space. And if you need help, we can at least point you to that. And if we don't know, I promise you, between the two of us, we know
Yeah.
somebody who do.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we can help you with that because you don't deserve to live in an embarrassment or live beneath who you are created to be because of somebody else's doing.
I agree.
And that's all I have.
All right. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure. I will wrap in saying that please be mindful to keep a regal mindset. And what does that
Right.
mean? We have to be mindful of how we carry ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, and to the best of our ability, and be as regal as we can, to be respectful towards other people, their space,
Hmm.
and to encourage those around us to do the same. So if we see
Right.
something, say something, just like we
And
talked about earlier,
exactly.
right? So we're going to close on that note. We will be back next week. I know that next week is
Yep.
the holiday, so we want to, for myself and Joy, we want to wish everybody a happy holidays,
Happy holidays.
a very Merry Christmas, enjoy time with friends and family, love on one another, and keep a regal mindset.
Keep a regal mindset. And
That,
can I say one more thing? You're gonna get mad at me about
nah,
this,
go
and
ahead.
I already
Go
prefer.
ahead.
And quit saying Jesus is the reason for the season, people. He was not born in December. Stop it. Do some research. This for my Christian people. I love y'all, but you know I don't like false information. He is not the reason for the season. He's the reason that we live, but he's not the reason that for the season. He was not born in December. And let them babies play with Santa Claus. It's okay. It's their innocence. That's it.
All right, you heard it from the coach. You heard it from the coach. All right, so keep a regal mindset. Again, please follow us on all social media platforms. You'll see we're on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. So please subscribe and follow us and make sure you turn on the notifications so you're aware of when we're going live. Until next time, peace. All right, take care. Bye.